My name is Janine
Uh-huh.
van Rooy, also known as Blaq.
Uh-huh. And where are you from?
I'm from Cape Town, South Africa.
Uh-huh. And
Talk on and on, so I'm trying to keep it like just direct to what you asking.
uh-huh. And how did you start to write and do poetry?
I started writing since the age of 11 or 12, and because I grew up in Mitchell's Plain, on the outskirts of Cape Town, to a lot of people it's known as the townships, I had to deal with a lot of, I grew up surrounded by a lot of social issues, social ills like gang violence and substance abuse and domestic violence and rape and teenage pregnancy and all these heavy stuff. And for me, being a child at that age, I remember always having to deal with the fear of going outside to the corner store and just hoping to come back safely, unscarred, unharmed by a stray bullet, that kind of thing. And so I just felt very tired of the fear and almost like my parents didn't understand when I tried to tell them how I feel about this. So one day I went to my room and I just needed to get out what I was feeling, in my own words. And amazingly, it came out in a very rhyme form, which is the first 4 lines that I ever wrote at that age was, "My life is like a roller coaster, it keeps going up and down. It plays the same old tune each day, the beat goes on and on." And that's how it started for me, with that 4 lines, and that described exactly how I was feeling at that time. I felt like it was just a cycle, and how am I going to get out of here, and it just goes on and on. And because I was raised with various musical influences in my home, I automatically used music. I would get up to the coffee table and just dance. So I didn't go out in the street often, I didn't play outside often with other kids. I also felt very, very afraid often to be outside, and so my parents also instilled that, because they would make it so comfortable to be inside and not outside when we'd be in harm's way. So they'll always buy us a VHS and music system, and so that we can entertain ourselves and express and have fun with our talents that we have. And when I say we, I'm talking about myself and my 2 brothers. And I mean, as a woman, as a young girl growing up, it has its own dynamics and own bunch of issues, as opposed to being a brown boy growing up on the Cape Flats in Mitchell's Plain. So, and my brothers, my older brother, my late brother, he got caught up in other stuff, and it's almost inevitable for you to be a teenage boy and not get caught up in the social ills that surrounds us in the community. So, but for me as a young girl, I just didn't want to get pregnant at a young age. I did not want to get caught up with gang violence. I did not want to get raped, and stuff like that. So I rather decided to stay indoors and have fun with my music and recording music videos and just learn more about entertainment and so on. And that's what I did. I mean, it kept me busy, it kept me off the street. That was my mechanism of coping during my teen years. And I also focused a lot on my schoolwork. Education was also preached very often by my parents, that it's important, education. So I loved reading a lot. I loved writing essays. And I think that all stimulated the fact that I'm doing what I do now. Just acquiring all that information at that young age, and knowing there's a world out there besides the world that I'm caught up in, which is my neighborhood at the time. And I always wanted to better myself and educate myself so that I can go out there and explore the rest of the world, and speak to. And yeah, I did well in school, always was top in my classes, and teachers loved me. I loved spending time with my teachers, and I loved reading and writing all the time. So anyway, it was, I think that, like I said, that stimulated where I'm at now in terms of how that all started for me way back. I need to let you know where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, oh. I need to let you know where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, oh. I need to let you know where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, oh. I said we need to know, I need to let you know. Some days it seems like I'm running in circles, trying to find where I belong, searching for answers all around, not knowing that I am born to fly high. This is my turn to learn, wishing to know why, wondering as I move around the world. I need to let you know where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, oh. I need to let you know where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, oh. Need to let you know where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, oh. I said we need to know, I need to let you know. At times, I feel stuck in this place called the Cape Flats. My mental's enchained, engraved in these streets where people roam, constantly dragging our feet. No one to believe in what we are selling, yet we keep on buying and buying these lies and artificial living. Teach us to teach and learn our nation's lessons. Motivate us with our own experience so we can feel again, breathe again, believe and rise like never before. For we, a people with history, roots deeply rooted, we need to search for it. Not just any story prescribed and printed with lies, stories known and alive with truth in it. So true, we can feel the life in, see the light in the sense it makes. Time to awake is not tomorrow, it's today, where I can be taught and see the light guiding my way toward the path where my ancestors wait, to fill me and bless me that I can clearly see my truth at last. I need to let you know where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, oh. I need to let you know where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, oh. I need to let you know where I'm coming from, where I'm going to, oh. I said we need to know, I need to let you know, oh, oh.
Tell me about your brother and his death.
Yeah, my oldest brother, his name is Alessandro Mario, and he is also known as a hip-hop artist, Mr. Devious. And back home he was known as a social activist and one of the top hip-hop MCs, rappers. And he was actually quite well known around Europe because he traveled Norway, Belgium, Sweden, Germany. He traveled all over Amsterdam. And he was 4 years older than I am. We were quite close growing up, and when he was killed very brutally 8 years ago, it was very, very hard, and we had all these plans together in terms of doing music together as we have been while we were growing up together. But when he died, it was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to continue these plans without him? And I had to find a way. So even today, you know, like he left such a big legacy behind. He left 3 beautiful children behind with his widow. We all taking care of them. He left behind a legacy of even rappers, young MCs stepping up today, still, you know, wish that he was alive so they can back him, you know, because he said that that standard. And people still talk about him all over. Whenever I go to the Netherlands, to Amsterdam, I meet up with old friends of his, and just like, keep doing what we love doing. And so, yeah, there's a whole lot I can tell you about my brother. He also, I don't think there'll be enough time, but he also is my biggest influence in terms of incorporating hip-hop into my style of singing and performing.
Mm-hmm.
And growing up alongside him and always having these crews coming to the house, we were all still teens, and I was much younger than him, of course. Growing up together, there will always be hip-hop music going on in the next room, making beats, graffiti, just like a hip-hop space. That's what his room was. And so I always had that music in my ear coming from the other room. And sometimes he'll call me into that room from my room and be like, Nina, come and sing this hook for me, please, because he believed he couldn't sing. So he would call me in, and I'll do the chorus. And one day we went to studio, I think I was about 14. And he just said to me, come, we're going to record this song today. And it's my first time in studio. It was an amazing experience. My brother had this kind of energy where he'll put you on this pedestal, just by hyping you up, by motivating you, by just talking to you. He'll just put you up there. He'll be like, Nina, you can do this, come on, you sing this so well every time at home, so just do your thing. And so me being on the other side of the glass window in the studio that day, I will never forget. He was on the other side, and he kept like hyping me up, come on, oh, you're the best, you're like, I'm like 14, I've never been to the studio. And I did one take. All I remember was singing the song the way I sang it when we used to jam it at home. And so I did one take. The engineer was blown away. My brother was like very happy. And the engineer was like, but I think that was the best take, that's the perfect take. And I was like, I didn't know what takes and stuff like that mean. And my brother was like, I like it, that's how I wanted to sound. And it's a chorus of a song called Deep in the Fields. It's a music video of it online as well. And my voice sounds so young when I listen to it now. So, no training, no nothing, just so young and so raw. And when I listen to it now, when I listen to this video or watch the video, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's me, way back. And I sound so different now, so much more matured in my voice, in my singing, in my writing, in my confidence, and it just takes me back, and it's just so amazing to hear that. So I don't have issues listening to it at all. It's just amazing. It's just sometimes funny, and it just, I can reflect and be like, I've come a long way. I've come from there to now finishing my own album last year, and which I've worked on for 3 years. And like I say, my brother, his spirit is so much still alive even after his passing, and I actually feel his spirit with me on stage every time. Before I go on stage, I pray, whether it's a silent prayer or just taking myself out of the space at the event and just having a moment to myself. And I pray because I give thanks to my Creator for the gift that I have, and that I acknowledge that when I open my mouth and I sing or I do spoken word, it comes from a source much deeper and much bigger than myself. And it's this gift that was given to me, and I just want to do the best I can with it, and I just want to give honor to the source that gave it to me, and I just want to basically share this with everyone else listening, with the audience, at the event. And yeah, and that's how I feel fulfilled, being able to share that. So when, like I say, when I go on stage, I can always feel his presence with me. And a funny thing is, sometimes when I come off stage, people come up to me and they're like, wow, because when I'm on stage, obviously I think I look taller for some reason. But when I come off, like, they always say, you're so short. Like, yeah. I said, but you sound so big, like your energy and your presence on stage was so huge. And a part of that, and I have to say, yes, that's me because I prepare and I love what I do, you know, passionately. But I have to say, like, there's spirits with me, you know, there's angels with me, there's my ancestors with me. And because I give honor to them and I give honor to the gift that I have. And I think that's what gets felt from the stage, you know, and back and forth. Just that energy, that sharing my soul with your soul. My brother's spirit is always with me, and it's just amazing, just phenomenal and beautiful to always have him as an angel with me. And that's how I embrace and that's how I heal and I accept his death. And I managed to continue the plans that we've had together. And I'm so proud because I've managed to do things that even he hasn't accomplished, you know. So I've taken it to next levels, which is really wonderful. And again, being able to know he's smiling down on me, down to me, and knowing that he's proud of me too.
Tell me about what your relationship, what you feel is the relationship between inspiration and your skill and your hard work. Like how do you balance those two and incorporate those two into the work that you do in your career?
Yeah. With balancing my inspiration, my hard work, and the skill of doing what I do is, I think, like I say, it's simple. It's okay. If I have to go, I have to take you back. I think what's kind of special about me is I, at a young age already, and I think it started when I made that shift about my society and I decided to write, to express myself, to cope, you know, in that society with all the ills. And so from around that period in my life, I think some consciousness arose in me, where I knew what it is I wanted to do and where I wanted to fit into this world, and the kind of impact I wanted to have. And it had to do with having a positive contribution in society and to the rest of the world. And that's when I made that decision, I think a very conscious decision at that age. And so my whole life until now has been about sticking to that, being about making that happen. And so I don't mind the hard work because I know who I am, I know where I fit in, I know where I want to go. And yeah, I mean, I don't know everything, but I knew from that age what it is I wanted to do. I knew, for example, besides the fact that I wanted to do this positive, have positive impact on my societies, when I was like in primary school, I knew I wanted to be a businesswoman, right? I didn't think that I wanted to be a singer. You know, that's not supposed to make money. So at that age, you don't think of it like that. But I wanted to be a businesswoman. And that thought, I think, was weird because all the other kids in my class wanted to be nurses, doctors, lawyers, you know, teachers, stuff like that. And I didn't want to be any of that, but because of the kind of home and consciousness I was raised around, like my father was an activist in the struggle against apartheid. He was very politically involved. My mother always worked in the textile industry, you know, when she was younger. But she still is a very loving and compassionate person, and always puts everyone else ahead of herself, you know. And so I could always have that loving conversations, and I could always feel that love, and know that, and that compassion and that kindness from, I learned that from my mother a lot. And my father, we could always sit in the lounge and just talk about anything, talk about things that we think of is affecting us, things that we see, things that we think don't make sense. So we could, in terms of politics, in terms of our community, in terms of church, in terms of anything. So we had that freedom growing up, you know, to communicate grievances and things we felt necessary to talk about with my father. And he was always very empowering in terms of telling us you can be anything you want to be, you can do what you want to do, you know, no one has the right to tell you you can't. So I got a lot of that encouragement and support from both my parents on different levels. And I think that brought me to the point of saying, of having that kind of confidence and knowing that I can be an entrepreneur. I didn't know what entrepreneur was at that age, you know, to the extent. But I knew I wanted to be a businesswoman. I knew I wanted to work for myself, not for some other boss. And I didn't want to have a regular kind of job like my mom was slaving away, making clothes, you know, and earning a very minimal wage. And, you know, we had to just get by. So I knew I didn't want all that. I wanted more. I wanted to be happy and fulfilled in what I believe in. And I can practice my principles and my beliefs and share it in a broader community of like-minded people that has similar aims and objectives in life. And so I started working on that, you know, ever since that age. And I was quite entrepreneurial. I would sell things. I would make things at home, and I would sell them at school, like beads, you know, and my mom taught me to crochet, so I would crochet caps and I would sell them at school, or scarves. So I was always very busy, you know, and practical and keeping myself occupied. And as I grew older, I went to university after completing high school. I ended up choosing psychology and linguistics, English and cultural studies, and media studies, and library science. And this is all things I'm interested in, you know. And but obviously when I started studying that at the University of the Western Cape, I learned so much more about it, and even within myself, and to the extent of who I am and where I fit into all that. And so I then chose my major to be psychology and linguistics, and that's what I wanted to focus on. Now, the entrepreneurial thing was put to the side. And I studied psychology, and then I wanted to be a practicing psychologist, which is something later, after I graduated. After I graduated, just the year I graduated in 2004, my brother was murdered 2 months before that. And so I was supposed to continue with my postgrad, and then I couldn't. I had to be relieved from my studies, because then I suffered a depression breakdown, which lasted up to like 6 months or so. So during that period of healing and refinding myself without my brother in my life, and dealing with the pain and the loss, I had to re-find where I want to fit in and how I'm going to make all this knowledge, skills, this academic self, you know, that I found, make it work, make it fit for me, you know, in the time and the life that I still have left. And also during the period of my studies, I already started, because like I said, I knew I wanted to work with kids and with people in my community, and I want to help uplift that. So I already started volunteering at the organization, very well-known organization in Mitchell's Plain, where I work with juvenile boys and girls, either referred from the schools or the community or social workers. And it was to basically transfer life skills to them. So I volunteered and I worked in that organization, also did some counseling throughout my studies. And so, you know, I'm really taking myself back here. And
I only asked you like one question like an hour ago. That's the last time I asked the question.
Oh, really?
Oh, it was morning time. I know. It's cool.
Okay. So there's a lot going on in my life. There's always been a lot going on, and I had to, in terms of the balance, like I say, it's just maintaining, to always keep myself in the center, to maintain my center, to not forget who I am and what it is I want to do in this life and in this world. So in this life, so it's important for me to always come back to that, and just being aware, being conscious about that, being sensitive towards my fellow men and women, to in terms of just always loving and feeling and caring. I think acknowledging humanity, for me that's important regarding knowing where I fit into it all, and having a balance in terms of my music, in terms of the career I find myself in, which is music.
Did you resist being an artist at any point? Was there a time when you said, look, there's no time for this. This is extra, maybe this can be a hobby, but I can't make this a priority in my life?
There was a period actually when I got to that, and I actually did some full-time work for like a period, like on contract base, 6 months to a year or something like that. And there was a point where I kind of said, okay, I need to do this. And it was also still part of the plan because I wanted to complete my album and I didn't want to wait on a major label or anything or sponsor. I wanted to fund this myself on my own terms because I know I was ready to work hard on that. And so it was more of a sacrifice I made towards getting to a next level of my art. Having a product that I can be proud of and say, okay, I've got to this point. And that was one of my goals, so that was great. I accomplished one of my goals again. And so in a way I kind of put it to the side because I needed to make money, more money than I did being an artist, of course.
What is your goal as an artist? To laugh. Laugh at people giving you interviews. You see how you are?
What's my goal as an artist now? Is to be able, because I create work that I believe is, firstly it starts with my own personal experiences. I also write and sing about other people's experiences, things I see, things I notice. And so what I do is, if I can be a voice, not with such intention, but if I can be a voice to bring people together, to connect people and let us know that our experiences, even though we are so diverse and we live in different sides or parts of the world, but most of the time our experiences, which is what brings us together, and if my voice can do that and bring people together, and people can hear the message even that I have to bring from within my context, in terms of my experiences and stuff I see in the world and things I feel I need to speak about or sing about, then if you want to listen, I'm here. So my goal is to share meaningful messages as much as I can, whether it's about love or pain or something funny, or sadness or loss or complete joy, for life, anything. I write about all those kinds of stuff, and whether it's just a story I'm telling, it's a story of something or someone who is real, and like I say, my goal is to share.
Okay. What are your impressions of Berlin?
Not that question again. My impressions about Berlin.
Wait, did I ask you that before? I didn't ask you that.
No, not you. But I always get asked that question by other people. Yeah, my impressions about Berlin. The first time I came here, and I always tell the story, in all honesty, which was last year in November, and I was here very briefly, like for 3-4 days. And I didn't like Berlin at all. I didn't get what the fuss was about, because I was in Holland, and then I had extra days left after the tour we did, and I was like, okay, I want to go somewhere else in Europe. And I started doing some inquiries by friends and people I know, and they all said, oh, you have to go to Berlin, it's a place to be, you're gonna have so much fun. I was like, okay, cool, I'm going. And then I went. With my ticket, I came along with another sister from Holland, and we came and we spent a few days here. And my first night I arrived here, I got lost. Me and her, we couldn't, the directions were so weird. I didn't speak a word of German. So I was completely lost, and people I spoke to, just were not open to speaking English with me. And I didn't expect that at all. You know, since everyone was so cool about Berlin and making a fuss, I thought, oh, it must be a very friendly and open-minded place. And then I got here and I experienced the opposite. I went to a Black empowerment conference, which was lovely, and that was random because I just got invited there. Went there, it was lovely. That I enjoyed a lot. That was, I felt a bit more at home. They spoke German, but also English, and there were some workshops happening, discussions, and I could kind of experience more than just coming here and being like a tourist for a few days. And yeah, that was good. But otherwise, last year I just did not like it. But this time around, I've been here for 53 days, and it has just been a wonderful experience. I've met so many more people. I've moved around on my own. I figured out the transport system. I actually took out, like, with more time, like now I realize that I can actually read and understand certain German words, because my mother tongue is Afrikaans, and Afrikaans is quite similar, to German and to Dutch. So if I pay very close attention, I can understand some words, and I can pick up and I can read the signs and that kind of thing. And so this time around, I liked the fact that I feel more liberated by being here. It had lots of positive, it had positive impact on my life, on me personally. I've noticed a lot of differences, but also a lot of things I have in common with people here in Berlin, you know, which is amazing. And other experiences was, oh, this one I have to tell you. Obviously I'm bald, so it's strange, I think, sometimes for people, when I walk down the street or I get into a train or a public space. People have quite a confusing look on their face when they look at me sometimes. I think they're not sure where I fit in, you know. And a friend, someone said to me, I think you're Turkish, but then again you're bald, you know. That doesn't go together now, so you're kind of confusing people. And my skin tone's darker, you know, so are you black? You know, where do you fit in? And that was a bit funny, because people actually walk around staring at me, and what I do is I stay back and I'm very enthusiastic about what it's about, you know, why you're staring at me. yeah, it's just been great experience generally for me about being here longer in such a long period of time. And the people that I have met personally is just people. Some of them are people I want to know for a longer period, for the rest of my life. They have personally made an impact on my life, and because I love learning, just hearing something similar from another sister or artist, you know, or another artist is just so great, because again, like I say, yes, we're so diverse and we come from different backgrounds and different contexts. At the same time, when we start communicating and we start sharing, especially in art forms or appreciating each other's skills and crafts, I think it becomes, that's what it becomes about, you know, that's what it's about for me. You then notice and you then see how much unified we can be if we just put aside, you know, all the petty stuff and differences, you know, but rather embrace the differences and pay more attention to the things that we have in common.
Are there any last words you want to say?
I feel I said so much. Last words I want to say is, I believe I am going to come back to Berlin on my next European tour. And so I'm looking forward to that. And I look forward to see if there's anything different going on in Berlin when I come back. That would be in a couple of months, like in 5-6 months max. I might come sooner, but for the latest would be that. And so yeah, I would like to see, you know, positive change, you know. And even for me going back home now to Cape Town, I'm eager to see my family, I'm eager to see my band, I'm eager to implement positive change in terms of my experiences I've had and the growth that I've been going through while I've been here on tour in Europe. So yeah, catch me next time. That's so cliche.
Do you have a website, a Facebook, a Twitter? How do people get a hold of you?
Yes, I have a website. I have it's www.blaq, that's Blaq with a Q, co.za. I am on Facebook as Janine van Rooij, which is full, so get me on Janine Blaq Pearl. On Twitter, BlaqPearl_ZA. Reverb Nation, MySpace, YouTube, type in Blaq Pearl with a Q. You'll find me there, and keep in touch. I love being in touch with people. I love people all over the world. Sometimes to my own detriment. But like my mother or my parents always say, well, with being compassionate, you know, comes great suffering. You have to put up with it, you know, you have to learn from it, and it also challenges my limitations and my capacity in terms of how much am I, or not how much, but just being able to love someone unconditionally. And I believe in that. I believe love will save the day, love will save the world, love will save everything. And yes, sometimes it's tough love, but it's still love. In touch, like I said, like this is my point. I love to be in touch, and I love to connect with people and make time and just share with each other.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.